Time for a new car? Not sure where to start? What research you should be doing? What's the best source for pricing? I don't even know if I'm getting a good deal. We'll cover all of that and more as we go behind the desk. Hey everyone, my name is Daryl and I welcome you to Behind the Desk. Before we get started today on the video, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about what we do here. So after spending most of my career working as a finance manager and a sales manager for the automotive industry, I've transitioned to helping people just like you get the upper hand on the dealership and get the best deal when they're looking to buy or lease a vehicle. Now, while I've done this to help out a number of people in my community, friends, family, I wanted to do more. So if you're looking forward to getting the upper hand on the dealerships, click that subscribe button and share this with your friends and family. And if there's any specific topic you want me to cover, please comment down below so I can review that and cover it in a future video. Today, we step behind the desk to discuss the 5 tips everyone should consider during the research process of buying or leasing a vehicle. Research is the most important subject to consider when you're ready for a new vehicle. We live in a technology age where there's a plethora of information at our fingertips. This not only will help you in your vehicle choice, but it'll help ensure that you get a great deal. Now, there's a lot of additional information you will gain once you finally enter a dealership because, let's be honest, dealerships aren't the most transparent businesses out there. We'll cover a lot of that in a later episode. But today, we're going to focus on the 5 most important things to consider during the research process. Use pricing and resource websites as a starting point, not a definitive. Keep in mind that companies like Edmunds, TrueCar, and KBB, to name a few, are collecting a check from the dealership. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great information on these sites, and they can help you get a starting idea of what a good deal is. But ultimately, they make money when the dealership is profitable. Dealerships actually track profitability from each of these lead sources, and if they're not making money, they're not going to continue to support and advertise these lead sources. So definitely start here, but don't end your research here. Regardless of new or used, check pricing in multiple states. The biggest mistake I see people make is only researching their local dealerships. Keep in mind, different types of vehicles perform better or worse in different climates. For example, if you live in California and want a convertible, you'll pay a higher premium for that vehicle than, let's say, Michigan, where it snows and the weather isn't as favorable for it. You'll have to consider things like airfare and price of gas and potentially time off of work into the overall value of your purchase. But more often than not, you'll find that you can save thousands of dollars by purchasing a vehicle in a market that it doesn't normally perform well in. Ever notice that several pricing websites ask for your zip code? That's why. This can also impact incentives and rebates on new vehicles as well. States and regions often receive different sets of rebates and incentives from the manufacturer. However, several manufacturers have caught on to this and now implement incentives based on where you live and not where you buy the car. Others, however, don't. So before you book a flight to buy your new vehicle, confirm with the dealership that your incentives are accurate and secured. So in short, consider where the type of vehicle you are interested in would not be as popular and check the pricing in that state. Check both Carfax and AutoCheck but do not completely trust the information that you see. Both Carfax and AutoCheck use reporting to determine what information you receive. However, they can drastically change in what's actually reported. Some organizations only report to Carfax and some only to AutoCheck. That's why it's important to check both sources and make sure you're getting the most information possible. I've seen cases where a vehicle is a clean title, no accidents on Carfax, yet 2 accident reports reported on AutoCheck. This is why I always recommend you check both when available. But that isn't the whole story. There's plenty that does and does not happen to a vehicle during its life that's never reported to either source. I have seen some of the cleanest, most maintained vehicles come into my dealerships that have never had a service report on their history record. I've also seen vice versa of that. A good rule is always pull this information, but do your due diligence to check for things like pinched frame rails, painted panels, etc. In a future video, I will actually cover these steps in details and the techniques to do them. Know your numbers. It's a good rule of thumb to never tell the dealership your monthly payment goal, but if you're financing a vehicle, you should always have one in mind. This helps you narrow down your search in the early stages of research, saving you a ton of time. So a good way to look at this would be every $1,000 you finance will account for about $20 in your monthly payment. Likewise, every $5,000 equals $100 in your payment. That means if you can't break a $400 a month payment, you should be looking at a vehicle somewhere in the $15,000 to $19,000 range, dependent on taxes and fees within your individual state. Now, this isn't an end-all metric. Of course, if you stretch or shorten your term, apply down payment, or a trade, this can change. But having a basic understanding of payments will keep you from the utter disappointment when you find that perfect vehicle, exactly what you want, and it comes in significantly higher than your budget. The devil's in the details. Let me be clear. Discounts and pricing on dealership websites are there for one reason and one reason only: to get you into the dealership. More often than not though, the pricing and the discounts stated on the website is nearly impossible to get. Click through the detail, read the fine print, and sift through all of the information. On new cars, the discounts and incentives are outrageous how they're advertised. Most of the time, they don't even stack. On top of that, to actually receive a lot of these discounts, you either need to be a veteran, own a competitive vehicle, currently own a vehicle from that same manufacturer, among many other things that don't fall under the standard buyer. This, however, can also play into your favor. Many manufacturers offer incentives if you own a competitive vehicle or already own a vehicle from that manufacturer. And you don't even have to trade your vehicle in. But oftentimes that information will never be brought to your attention, and you may miss out on an additional $500 or $1,000 because of it. There's still many dealerships that will list a price for a used vehicle and in the fine print say something along the lines of does not include reconditioning. They do this for the same reason they do what they do with incentives and rebates on new cars, which is to get you into the dealership. If they are able to list the lowest price for a vehicle, you'll be more likely to show up and see if you can purchase that vehicle. However, oftentimes when the paperwork comes out, there's a $15,000 to $3,000 ad for reconditioning. So ultimately, dig into all of the details before you ever consider calling or especially showing up at a dealership. It's going to save you so many headaches. So that's it. The 5 most important things to consider when researching your next vehicle purchase or lease. If this helped you in any way, please give me a big thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to the channel. That way you can stay up to date with our future videos. Also, if you have any questions or any specific topics you want me to cover in the future, please drop a comment down below and I will get to them in a timely manner. Till next time, this is Daryl with Behind the Desk.